So, Daniel's Talent Solutions, we are celebrating 10 years. It's our 10-year anniversary. And as a part of that, we are coming to the table with a few of our partners, our friends who have helped us along the way. It is not a solo effort to get to 10 years, it is really a community effort. And so today we have DeLano Ford, and we're going to talk about community. DeLano, I'm excited that you're here. You're a partner at the Charter School Growth Fund, but we met actually, I was trying to figure it out, maybe about 10 years ago.
Probably more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
We both participated in the Broad Center, got education in Leadership Masters, which is now part of the Yale School of Management. And we actually, I think about 2014, I started working at Teach for America.
Yes.
And I was on the national team, but you were the executive director in Atlanta.
That's right.
We are in New Orleans, so we'll talk a little bit about your shift from New Orleans to Atlanta, some other places back to New Orleans. But I appreciate that over these years, you have consistently said, hey, Daniel's Talent Solutions can do this work. And you have kept us at the forefront of referrals. And I'm always like, DeLano, thank you. Thank you so much. And so today I just want to talk a little bit about community and what that means, because you're not only, I would say, a friend, but you've kept us in community and community at the forefront. And we wouldn't be successful. We wouldn't be here 10 years later without people like you. I had a business development coach, shout out to my coach, who told me, if you think about where where a lot of your business comes from, there are probably about 5 people that you could name that consistently refer you. And so you are one of those 5 folks for us. So let's talk a little bit about just in community.
Yeah.
What does community kind of mean to you? And let's kind of start there, because we see you as our community.
I appreciate that question, Yanika. But as I was thinking about our time today and I was anticipating our conversation, I was like, I don't think I have done anything for 10 years. Maybe breathe, maybe pay bills. But like,
Definitely that.
the fact that you have had the tenacity and the resilience and the vision and the community to be here in this moment.
Yeah.
I think we should celebrate the fact that your organization has been enduring.
Thank you.
And you have been a powerhouse in this work for 10 years.
Thank you.
So much love, so
I
much
appreciate
respect,
that.
so much gratitude for how you are using your gifts and your talents in this space. And so first, thank you for that, and congratulations.
Thank you.
As for community is, I think it is so integral to who we have become and how we have become those individuals. And it is an ongoing practice of love for me, right? Community is about those shared beliefs, shared values, shared commitment to similar outcomes, etc. And every aspect of my life, I have only been able to get to where I needed to get to because of community. And so I take it incredibly seriously. And I think that community is built through this ongoing practice of love and vulnerability, really, right? Being able to show who you are. And that's one of the things that I learned about you when we first met so many years ago, is that I got the real, authentic Yanika from day one.
Right.
And there wasn't a air of performance. And that air of performance is what sometimes can create a network. But that doesn't create community, because that community is an exchange. And so that has been really important to me. It's one of the reasons why I live in New Orleans. It's one of the reasons why Atlanta was so important to me for so long. And it's one of the reasons why we continue to think about Daniel's Solutions as a partner for the folks that we trust and value most through our investments in them. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Something you said kind of is leading me to this next question. I love that. Like, kind of the performative could get you a network.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
doesn't build, like, that real, true relationship.
That's right, because I don't get anything necessarily from recommendations to you or whatever. So sometimes it's about, like, when you have a belief in someone
Yeah.
and you have a belief in something, and then you are giving to that person because of the vulnerability, because of the depth of that relationship, etc. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No,
but
that's good.
yeah.
No, because I think, I was thinking about the entrepreneurs, the people out there who might watch this. People call and want to have like 30 minutes of my time all the time. Like, how did you start? What did you do? And so there's a level of vulnerability. I only know how to show up as me. But then there's this trust that you're saying, I'm going to put my name, because you said I'm not getting anything. I'm going to put my name behind this team, this organization,
Yeah.
and be confident that they can do the work. And so when you think about the advice, right, for people who are trying to, like, build these relationships and things like that, what else might you add to how people can show up? You've named vulnerability, and authenticity, but how else can they show up to build those relationships and build that trust?
Yeah. Trust is certainly earned, right? And I think that comes from, community is built first, I think. And again, like I said, it's a practice.
Yeah.
So we are learning and figuring that out in a community. But that trust comes from when a person delivers on what they say they are going to do, right? They are committed to their word. They're committed to their product delivery, their service delivery. They have similar expectations as you. And what I knew from my experience of you as friend and colleague was that the quality of your work spoke for itself, right? And so because of the fact that I liked you as a person,
Yeah.
I think you liked me as a person, we built a friendship, and then I was also able to see the dynamism of your actual work. And then you are providing a solution to organizations that, we invest in. At Charter School Growth Fund, we are investing in the nation's top leaders who are growing charter schools, oftentimes for the most vulnerable populations. And so it is incredibly important to me that they have a partner who I trust,
Right.
because this helps protect our investment, right? Like, if we give and invest money in your organization, then we want to surround them with a community of partners who can help them deliver on their goals for kids and communities. And so that trust comes from having seen the work, and now having portfolio members call me and say, "Oh my God, I could not have done this without Yanika. Yanika was amazing, Daniel Solutions, etc." And so now what happens is I can say, you don't have to hear it from me, CEO. You can talk to another CEO who also partnered with Daniels, and that level of trust just begins to snowball
Yep.
and build over and over again. That vulnerability, though, that we have with each other also allows us to be able to give each other feedback,
Yep.
react to stuff, ask questions, things like this. And that is how community is strengthened over time, too, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The kind of almost the network kind of pillars of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I'm hearing you say, vulnerability, authenticity, but meeting the moment and being able to deliver
That's right.
and have quality of work. And so I always tell people when they call me or want to talk about this, what are you good at? And
Yes.
let's dig into there. Let's stay
yeah,
there,
yeah.
because sometimes we're tempted to kind of branch off into all these things, and that might make your quality of what your product that you're delivering, the service that you're delivering, not be what it needs to be.
That's right.
So.
I mean, and the thing, what I can imagine, I would love to hear your reaction to this, but like, oftentimes people are like, I need to make some money. And so, you know what? I want to sell this service, but people are buying this service, so I'm going to do this over here. How did you decide that you were going to stick in this thing? Because what I know about you is that you can do a million things, and you can do a million things well.
Yeah.
How did you decide that this is where you were going to stick and persist through for 10 years and not have mission creep?
Mission
scope?
creep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, there has been some mission creep. So let me say that.
Yeah.
What am I good at? I know innately that I have a discernment around people.
Mm-hmm.
I understand and can see things in leaders and kind of potential in where they could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can also hear and see what's not being said.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we think about like executive search, when we think about talent, strategy, like the thing, we're people. We're about people. And so we're placing people, we're working with organizations about their people. That's the bread and butter.
Yeah.
Has it required some shifting and some pivots a little bit? Maybe it does. And even right now in this moment,
Yeah.
we're branching into some city work and
Okay.
some municipalities. And so still doing our bread and butter, but maybe it looks a little differently. And so there have been hard conversations I've had with my team, I had with myself in my head about
I know that's right.
what should we do.
Yes.
But as a leader in general, entrepreneur or not, right? You know that there are some times where you have to think about like how far does this go away from the bread and butter or who we are and our mission. And so, we try to stick to our values,
Yeah.
who we are as an organization, and not pivot from that too much. So that's, what has kind of kept us around. So we met in a few different places, but when we really connected, you were in Atlanta.
That's right.
And then you said, Yanika, I got to get back to New Orleans. Like I can live here, but I have to get back to New Orleans. Talk to me about what makes New Orleans kind of different. And we know that there's, in your leadership experience, right? You've had deep roots here in the city. And so tell me a little bit about how community looks here for you in New Orleans.
Yeah.
and kind of what you've created here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have had the privilege of living in a variety of places here and abroad. And New Orleans is by far the place where I feel the most at home. And while I am from North Carolina, Winston-Salem, and I lived there, of course, growing up there, and also spent the majority of my adult life in Atlanta, 17 years there. And Atlanta is so incredibly important in our nation, for sure. And New Orleans is even more important in my heart because of a variety of things. This is where I cut my teeth in education. I started my career in education as a Broad resident, as you mentioned, here in New Orleans, and I was the first Broad resident here in 2008. And I learned so much in a very short period of time. This is a city that is built on, celebrated by, at the heart of it is Blackness, and everything about how the city operates, what we celebrate, how we celebrate. It has such an African retentive nature in this city, and so when I am here, I feel closest to my ancestors, closest to the things that shaped my identity. There's a spirit of whimsy and tragedy and triumph and resilience and love and joy and rawness that you can experience in a 2-block radius in New Orleans. And no other place I've lived has felt like that. It has such a unique tapestry, also from a charter perspective, because it being the nation's only all-charter city.
Right.
And having seen incredible success of students and families in this city. 20 years ago, we had a very different academic outcome in the city than we do today, celebrating the fact that it's the first time the district has been rated a B district in its history, right? And this is a city where folks may not have thought 20 years ago we would be looking at New Orleans as a bedrock of education innovation and a place where our most vulnerable students can learn at the highest levels. And so having been a part of a system and a structure that helped create that alongside so many other people, including the families who are in our schools today, it resonates with me deeply professionally.
Yeah.
And then everywhere I go, I am seeing people who I have built community with. We've been vulnerable with each other, right? We have had to persist through some things together. A lot of those things are fundamental to how the city operates,
Yeah.
right? And if that is not what you are into, then this is not going to be a good place for you, because that is at the heart of who the city is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that you said that I can wholeheartedly appreciate. And I don't, I'm gonna rephrase it just a little bit, because I got into this work initially to say, hey, I wanted to help Black and Brown communities, help organizations that may or may not have access to great talent, diverse talent, help them find great talent. And so you talked a little bit about the spirit of New Orleans and the whimsy and the trauma and kind of all of those things. And so I've thought about over the years, like, why we do this work and keeping us back at that center of, we want to find leaders that can support our community. And so you do that. You support leaders across this nation. Talk to me a little bit about maybe what is that advice that you give leaders as you're trying to help, through your work, place great leaders, build great leaders, find professional development. You all are supporting leaders in this work.
Yeah.
It's kind of a two-part. What are the things that you tell leaders? And then maybe the second part is, this work can burn you out.
That's right.
And so I'd love to also hear maybe how you support yourself from getting burned out, but how do you share that with leaders and ensure they don't get burned out as well?
Right. Such a great question. And let me just be clear that while I get a chance to invest in and support leaders around the country, primarily in the Southeast, I learned so much more from them than they probably learned from me, right? Like, when you are in the thick of the work every single day, you are having to exercise a different set of muscles than when you are sitting behind a desk making investment decisions. So I just want to name that. I'm learning a lot from the folks that I get a chance to invest in. But some of that advice that comes up over and over again is being really, really clear about the impact that you want to have, right? Of course, you want to have great schools, you want to have great organizations, but to what end? What needs to be true for your community or for your stakeholder group that you're working with? And how do you make sure that every single one of your decisions is aligned to that commitment of what those outcomes need to be for you? Because again, we talked about scope creep, mission creep. It's so easy to go after a million different things and do everything super mediocre, right? And that's one of the conversations that we have. Is this becomes easier when you are clear about what problem you're trying to solve, and you align everything around that problem versus 73 problems that you're trying to solve, et cetera.
At once.
Exactly. What we also try to do is make sure that our leaders have the opportunity, our CEO has said this before, to make new mistakes. We have had 20 years of investing in 400 organizations across the country. So a lot of leaders have done a lot of this work already. Right. So we try to make sure that they have as much information from us as they can from other leaders, so that you don't have to do the same thing that this leader across town did already. We're going to tell you what did and did not work. And we also try to get out of the way of leaders from a support perspective too, because it is very easy and I'm sure you've gotten so much advice from so many different types of people and so many different ideas. We try to make sure that leaders are aware that we invested in you because we believe in you, and we trust you, and you've got to trust yourself. And so sometimes that helps remove things like imposter syndrome and things like that. But like, we believe deeply in you, and you got this. So a lot of the times I'm just cheering leaders on and helping to bring out their greatness.
Yeah, reminding them to understand that impact part.
That's right.
And so then that second part of my question,
yes.
Because maybe we already answered it, I don't know. With burnout, we're doing this work, we're doing it for the right reasons, right? People get into this work because of their support for kids, for students, for community.
That's right.
How do you make sure you're not burnt out?
Yeah.
If you aren't, you
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah,
And
right.
then how do you like help your leaders to kind of find that balance of what that might look like?
Yeah, I am reminded of during the pandemic, I read Trisha Hersey's book, Rest as Resistance, and I'm sure
Great book.
lots of folks think about it and talk about that all the time. But I think that it goes without saying that of course, first of all, as I am older, I am realizing that I absolutely need rest.
Yes.
And rest is not a sign of laziness. Like, so many times and for so long, so many systems and structures have made us believe that work hard, work long, and that's how your reward will come. But I think, as Trisha Hersey says in her book, that that rest and creating space for rest actually allows us the ability to continue in the work longer. It allows it to be more sustainable. So I am a person who is going to encourage people to have a nap practice, a meditation practice, a walking practice, whatever it
absolutely.
is to restore yourself, and that those can happen at any time throughout the day. And those things need to be scheduled and calendared, right? So be intentional about how you are going to rest. And so I did a couple of years ago, I did a silent retreat for 7 days where I was absolutely silent and didn't talk to anyone. And I almost went crazy the first day and I almost left. I was like, you can keep the money. I don't need this. But I got into practice. I learned in that experience how to have a different relationship with my technology. I don't have to have my phone on me at all times. And so sometimes just turning the phone off is rest, right?
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that. I also make sure that for the leaders that we support, that they know about how others who are in this work every day are renewing themselves, because the work that I am doing is very different from the work of the leaders who we invest in, and the need for their rest has to be so much more intentional. And there are a lot of leaders who have been in this work for 20 and 30 years, and they did not do it by not resting. And so we do a lot of connecting of other leaders so that they can learn from what others' practices are.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You have dropped so many gems around community, things that leaders should kind of keep in mind. We've talked about trust and authenticity and vulnerability and being grounded too in spaces that give you personal joy, whether it's here in New Orleans or wherever it needs to be. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you keeping us at the forefront of your mind, and also just this partnership and friendship. And so thank you so much for your time today, DeLano.
Absolutely,
I appreciate
Yanika.
it.
I am richer and better because of the work that you do and because of your continued leadership and friendship. And so I appreciate you for even considering me for this conversation. And we've got a couple firsts behind us now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right.